Welcome back to Isaac Rebirth. It's now time to tackle Challenge 6, Solar System, and this is where the challenges will start becoming quite difficult. This is the first challenge out of a series of many where you wear a blindfold, which means that you're unallowed to shoot tears at enemies. In order to compensate that, you have an all-fly arsenal at your disposal. You start with the halo of flies, which is essentially 2 regular flies that orbit around you in order to block shots. You also get Forever Alone, which is the blue fly, which is hovering in a circle all around us, far away from us. You pretty much rub this fly against your enemies as much as you can in order to deal them damage. But the biggest output of damage in this one challenge is the Distant Admirator, which is the red fly. This one deals a lot of damage, as in, we overlap certain enemies and they die within one blink of an eye. It pretty much is twice as powerful as Forever Alone, but it's also much trickier to use without getting hit yourself. We also start with another item, one of the rarest items of the game in fact, which is Transcendence. This one allows you to fly, but essentially it's only a visual effect for this one challenge because it just makes it so that your entire head is disembodied. But you won't even need it to fly because you start this playthrough with 3 fly items and or 4 you are Lord of the Flies, which means that you do fly. So essentially, Transcendence is completely useless and it's just used in order to make your head disembodied. But yeah, you also notice a little something whenever we were transitioning levels. This is the first challenge that we have to do where it's not gonna end on Mom. Instead, we have to go all the way down to the womb in order to kill Mom's heart. This is the first time that we have to do this, and honestly I think this is why this is one of the trickier challenges in the game. Honestly, most of this challenge is not all that difficult, and right here you can see the benefits of Lord of the Flies. Whenever we kill any enemies that spawn flies at us, well, we just get our own army of flies instead of having to fight flies right after. This is pretty much the one and only time that you'll be happy to have Lord of the Flies as a gimmick. But yeah, in overall, most of this challenge is not very hard. It's just that whenever you get to the womb, things will become very tricky because there's a lot of things that we'll need to avoid, and honestly, our loadout makes it really hard to deal with this. But for the most part, whenever you get to bosses like Monstro, you can see how much of a joke they are. Yeah, if you can somehow manage to hit him with both of your flies at once, he doesn't really ever get a chance. The only bad thing with this challenge is that some items are pretty much completely worthless, like the Pentagram. And yeah, right here we also got a new curse, which is Curse of the Blind. This one is really annoying because you cannot see what items that you can pick up are. And right here I'm leaving the Devil Room without picking up any single one of them because honestly it's too risky, and for the most part the item has a large chance of being completely useless due to me being unable to shoot. As for the caves, this is when the playthrough starts becoming a little bit more difficult. In order to take care of the big flies, your best bet is to use Forever Alone because honestly, if you use Distant Admiration, you're probably just gonna have the fly blow up in your face and either spray you with bullets or with bombs. In order to succeed at this playthrough, there's pretty much 2 items that you'll need. You'll need to get items that give you extra health, and the other one will be full health pills. And I know that in the Devil Room I found a full health pill, so I should be set in order to win the challenge. Essentially, the way that you want things to be is, if you have a full health pill, well, you just save it until you get to the final boss, and then you're pretty much guaranteed to not fail the challenge, unless you somehow get hit so many times that you'll go through your entire health bar twice. The other trick that you could use is to get a bad trip pill, because if you have 1 red heart or less available into your entire health display and everything, it will become a full health pill, and therefore you can replenish your entire health instead of taking 1 heart of damage. As for the rest of the challenge, it's all about dealing with all of the enemies that the game will send you in your way, and hurry for Tears Up pills, the most useless pills that you can ever get into a blindfolded challenge. I mean, what's the point? You can't even attack, so it's not as if it does anything good for you. At least things like the pentagram can be of use, because if you have stuff like attack familiars or, you know, flies that will attack enemies, it will increase their damage, but what I have right now, Tears Up, is completely useless. Yeah, meat also increases your damage, but we're gonna be interested by it only because of the health up that we have. At least a good thing is, in this challenge, you'll go forward really fast. It's really tricky to attack enemies, but at least your damage output is really high, so at least it's not too much of a pain to deal with any of the enemies, and generally this is how I like my challenges. Whenever you start the challenge really strong right off the bat, and you have some kind of challenge in the way that you attack enemies. I like those challenges. Unlike stuff like the tank, where things go at the pace of a snail and there's absolutely nothing interesting going on. And yeah, by the way, if you have a couple of extra coins, you can spare them on the shell game in order to get some extra flies whenever you fail the bonus game. They will become friendly flies that will attack your enemies. With that said, however, you can only get a very few quantities of them, so you use this if you have absolutely no attack flies available in your behalf. Most of the enemies is just a game of patience whenever it comes to dealing with them, and sometime you luck out and you get your halo of flies to block projectiles for you. But usually you wait until the enemies are in a position where your flies are perfectly lined up with them so that it's really easy to attack them, or you wait until they attack and completely pause, therefore it'll become easy for you to destroy them. And sometimes you luck out and you get champions that have less health than the regular monsters. Yeah, the champions that give you keys for some reason have less health than the regular champion monsters. Compared to some other champions, like for instance the red one, which have more health than every single one of them, well, the great champions that give you keys are wimpier than your regular enemies, and finally they give you rewards. Well, that is unless you play on hard difficulty, because then you have half of the chances of not getting anything out of them. So, since I have a couple of coins and I have infinite keys for this one floor, I might as well go look for the shop, because there is one shop item in this challenge that you'll especially want, because it will make your flies deal devastating damage to your enemies. But we'll come to it whenever we'll see it, because honestly, who knows if we'll get it, but it's called Best Friends Forever. Oh well, I guess I'm gonna have plenty of money in order to tackle the next room, or the next floor, because at this point we're just gonna collect all of the money that Greed left behind and activate our 2 of diamonds in order to rake all of the mad money. Alright, we have plenty of bombs, so might as well blow this entire room wide open. That's what it's made for. Just bomb all of these mushrooms in order to get everything that you could possibly have. Especially speed up, this one will be especially useful. Oh, tears down, what will I do with those? At this point, I'm just gonna munch every single one of these pills. And yeah, we're gonna carry full health for the ride, because at this point I told you how useful it is, and you'll see for yourself whenever the time will come. And in the meantime, this boss is a complete joke, even with the loadout that we have. They are so predictable and they always move in straight lines, so it's always easy to deal with them. And hey, what do you know, we got another angel room because I said no to Satan and his items that I couldn't even see. And we got the meter. Honestly, I'm not sure if this is a great thing for me to have, because I'll want to have the most red hearts as possible, but at this point it cannot really hurt. I mean, I only have maxed out half of my heart container or health display, so at this point I might as well just have the meter in order to have more soul hearts at my disposal. These enemies for the most part are not too hard to deal with. You just get them to attack and you go for the kill while they're busy distracted. Oh, gold chest, don't mind if I do. I mean, normally I will shy away from such challenges, considering that I honestly hate dealing with knights because they're really bad enemies to deal with, but hey, whenever you have an attack that just bypasses their entire shield gimmick, why will you say no? Because at this point we might just get a useful item out of the deal. Not sure which one, but hey, we could have gotten goated or any other thing. Honestly, I think they might be the worst enemies to deal with because their hit detection is pretty spotty and you never really know whenever they decide to move down on you while their laser wears off, and that somehow manages to hurt you for some damage. I never really liked the brimstone crawling enemies. They're really annoying to deal with and they're not really that fun to fight neither. And now that I have this one loadout, even less. Yeah, tumors also might be a problem. You need to use your red fly in order to kill them without any fear of being shot, because if you use forever alone, they might have the time to squeeze a few shots into you and hurt you. But, oh hey, another full health. At this point, I'm not too sure I could ever die. But yeah, and overall you can see, this challenge is not too difficult. But yeah, right now we're not gonna buy the item which is on sale at 15 coins because that'll make all of the pills disappear from the game forever and we don't want that. We want full health, and honestly I'm not too sure that there's a lot of tarot cards that will help you do the challenge. So if you had a choice between pills and cards, always go for the pills. With that said, however, this boss is gonna suck to fight with only the flies. You pretty much have to hurt it only whenever it's standing still, because otherwise you don't really have a good window. And finally, the cage attack kinda suck because, yeah, they're so unpredictable. I mean, the way that the rock projectiles start out, they go in the 4 cardinal directions, but then it does a complete 90-degree turn and just end up hitting you all the way down, which is complete bullshit. I hate this boss so much. But hey, at least we got a new item out of the deal. We got the latch key, which increases your luck, it gives you an extra soul heart, and finally it spawned 2 keys. And yeah, I believe at this point it probably could also spawn a gold skull key, which at this point will be hilarious because you'd be done with the floor and I'm not sure there'd be much use for it anymore. But yeah, more luck mean you're gonna have more items that'll spawn at the end of rooms, so it's always good. Right, rise and shine, my minions. Yeah, normally this room will be completely useless, but since I'm Lord of the Flies, it actually was useful because, yeah, it got me a whole lot of minions that got slaughtered right upon entering the room, but hey, that was way less work for me, so I can't really complain. But yeah, if there's something that I can give to the mirror is that it'll allow me to get red hearts easier too, because whenever you get eternal heart, well, you need to have your enemies munch down on all of your blue and black hearts first before you lose your regular heart, so at this point it's pretty much free health for free. Yeah, speaking of health for free, thank you! More health in order to sustain the wrath of having to use a rather clumsy attack, but hey, at least it's a clumsy attack that deals a lot of damage, so this is why I like this challenge. Once again, I will not mind challenge into an actual challenge whenever you'll have the mean to kill things really fast, as long as it involves a certain degree of skill, instead of being locked down to using really bad items that leave you defenseless with no damage and anything, until that you eventually get an aneurysm. And yeah, before fighting the boss, it's time to find the shop, because at this point we have one last chance to get best friends forever, or see what the shop can even offer to us. Okay, so we didn't get it, but at least we got more options. this is a great item, and we're gonna see what it does whenever we'll kill a boss. And we're gonna start, yeah, with Berserk Mom once again. This fight is once again going to be much easier to do because, well, it's gonna take longer to do because for the most part you don't have as many windows of opportunity to attack Mom, but at least you don't have to deal with any minions. And I'll show how really damaging minions can be in the boss fight whenever we'll be done doing the fight. And yeah, don't stay too close to the doors because that will get you a stumping. Okay, so is a stumping of the hands any possible? I'm not really sure. Alright, and we get more health out of the deal because we got the blue cap. Oh no, our shot speed is down. What are we gonna do about this? And yeah, nothing that really warrants the pain of going through the boss rush with this loadout. It probably will take a while, and I honestly don't wish to invest this kind of time on this one playthrough. More so considering that we are so close to the goal. Okay, so far the challenge has not been too bad, but this is where things are going to change. There's a lot of enemies on the womb that become really hard to deal with, especially the eyeballs, and even the tentacles that can now become a threat because you never really know in which situation you will be, so that you will have to do some really daring maneuver in order to get yourself out of a jam. And then, without noticing it, you just ram into the tentacle, and you lose a full heart of health, because remember, this is the womb, so all enemies deal an entire heart of damage. This is mainly why this part of the level and the challenge is so hard, because it kinda becomes hard at a certain point to not get a hit. But hey, at this point I have so much health, so I really should not be too bothered by the challenge, more so considering that, hey, I still have a full health pill in the likelihood that I'll need it. I'll try to not use it, but oh god, okay, this room however sucks to do with our loadout. Time to get out of here. Or not, because holy shit, I really failed to understand how my bomb did not manage to open this door. Sometimes the hit detection on these things are really finicky and I don't like them. Alright, so I guess I'm gonna kill everything then. And here's to hoping that this door was actually worth the trouble, because I'm gonna be mad because at this point I'm losing all of my spare health. Welp. Alright, I guess we'll just forget that this part of the playthrough existed and we're just gonna move on to the next screen. Yeah, this is also something that we can end up doing if we end up being in a jam. Either we use our bombs in order to get out of rooms, or we're just going to bomb enemies that will be really troublesome. In the likeliness that we end up into a room that we can't bomb our way out, or where the door decides that it doesn't want to be bomb open, because holy shit, what in the world happened earlier? I have no clue. At least it's a good thing that this challenge gives you flying. Honestly, if you wanted to make this challenge a million times harder, well, just remove the flying and make it so that you become obstructed by everything. But at this point, I don't know that if you couldn't fly, some of the challenge will be possible or not. Also, hello. Alright. Hello. How are you doing, turtle? I think in the entire challenge, these guys are the worst enemies to deal with. There's honestly not that many great opportunities in order to attack them without triggering their attacks, so you have to be really careful around them. But in order to attack them, you need to be really aggressive, because otherwise you're never gonna reach them before they just go and hide out under the ground again in order to teleport. And yeah, in order to deal with leeches, we might as well just use the bombs. If you can drop a bomb right into their path of flight, they're just gonna become obstructed, and therefore you're gonna have free reign. Oh my god, this boss is gonna suck with Solar System. Yeah, this is Colex, and I don't know what they did to this boss, but ever since the first Isaac, it became 10,000 times more obnoxious because it just feels way harder to hurt it nowadays than in the Flash version. It just feels that the little tail that you must hurt here, it's almost impossible to hurt it whenever it's flying out. If anything, I think that Solar System Challenge makes it easier for you to attack this boss while it's out of the ground and jumping between places, because otherwise, the only reliable way to hurt this boss is to wait for it to stick its tail out in order to shoot bombs. And yeah, that's also another change between the versions of the game. In the initial Flash version of the game, whenever it stuck its tail out, it will shoot these vast projectiles that go everywhere, and whenever it will stick its head out, it will shoot the bombs. But for some reason in the remake, it's now been inverted. Not entirely sure what it means, but apparently it means something. Alright, and here's another red heart container. At this point, we have all of the red hearts that we ever need in order to fight Mom's Heart. Okay, so are you ready to risk your life in order to get all of these red chests? Well, let's see what kind of payoff we will have gotten. Yeah, if I didn't have flight, this room will be freaking awful. But at least I got a couple of blue spiders out of the way. Okay, fuck this room. I don't want to fight a whole lot of these things. I mean, spiders probably could kill all of these enemies all by themselves, but at this point, I don't even want to bother with them. I just hate these enemies. They're not fun to fight whenever you have this loadout around you. They become really challenging and tedious. Yeah, right now this is where the emitter is kind of betraying us, because I need to refill my red hearts, but right now it's not giving me any. It's giving me nothing but soul hearts, and right now I don't have any more room in order to put in any hearts. In the Flash version, that was not a problem because you could have more health than the health indicator will allow to display. You could just overflow the entire health bar and have way more health than it could possibly display. But in this version of the game, you can only have a maximum of 12 hearts at a time, all types confounded, so essentially you must choose what kind of items or hearts that you have. This is why a lot of people don't like... Oh god! Okay, they don't like having so many flies because holy shit, what is this infestation? Also, I've been really lucky that I somehow managed to dodge the laser. And, yep, I somehow got hit by this tree projectile. Hooray me! Yeah, I don't know, whenever the game gives you rooms like this, I'd almost expect that it will be the actual way forward in order to beat the level. But nope, instead you just went through all of this trouble for absolutely nothing. But yeah, that's the reason why a lot of people don't want to have red hearts. They will often want to just have blue hearts or black hearts instead, because there are some items that make it so that it's way easier to get those items instead. And finally, whenever you lose health and it's part of a blue heart or a black heart or anything, it doesn't impact your chances to get a devil room, because if you lose red hearts, then you pretty much lose a good deal of the chances that you'd have to possibly get a devil room. But right here, I will be guaranteed to be able to go there. So it's come down to this. It's time to face the biggest roadblock of this entire challenge. The final showdown between Mom's Heart. This fight, however, is a real bastard and a half. Yeah, you have to hit enemies with flies, and all while dodging Mom's projectiles. And sometimes there are times where Mom's projectiles will make it so that it's almost impossible to attack her without taking any kind of damage. So therefore, it becomes really, really tricky. Right now it's not too bad, but okay, now it's become bad. There's no way we can attack Mom while she's doing this bullet pattern. And we have these enemies again. At this point, this is where I'm gonna lose all of my health. I think I'd have better chances letting Mom kill these enemies for me than trying to attack them myself. This is how bad it gets, because yeah, you can have friendly fire going into this fight. I think this probably will be the longest mom fight that we'll ever have, because honestly, you usually do this fight way faster than that, and if you want to do this challenge, do it before you've played this game a bunch, because then it will become even harder, because at one point the boss will transform and become even harder, so do it whenever this boss is still in its easy mode. But yeah, at this point, there's absolutely no tension whatsoever. I mean, if I lose all of my health, I can just use my full health pill, but I'm gonna try to not use it. Just pretend that it doesn't exist. We're gonna see if we can succeed, if I somehow did not have it. Okay, and now I've got Mom in a really good loop, because I managed to get her in a position where the red fly will overlap her no matter what happened. And here we go, victory has been achieved against the Solar System Challenge. And as a reward, we get another rune. But before we put an end to this video, let's have a look at what the Mom Challenge can end up being if you have absolutely no health, or if you just fight the regular version of Mom, which honestly is way harder to do. In this one playthrough, I attempted something different by doing devil deals, but honestly I think it was not the good idea. I also have the Ball of Bandage, which can also be used in order to deal damage. It deals damage really quickly, but it's also really risky because you have to hug your enemies, and when I have no health like that, it's not really recommended. And I ended up dying because an enemy just spawned exactly where I was headed, so in the end there was not a whole lot I could do about it. So, moral of the story, go into this challenge with a lot of health. But yeah, we're done with this one challenge, and it's time to move on to another character. It's now time to play as the glass cannon of the game, Judas, in the next video.